Well, it happened again. And this time, let's not question it. Let's not go crazy over it. Let's just go with it. It's time to start believing today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is December 24th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic do it again. They defeat the Boston Celtics 108-104. So let's throw out all those questions we have about this team and just start believing how the Magic did it again today on Locked On Magic. Before we get into that, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We obviously know what the Orlando Magic are missing right now. We know what they don't have. We know what is not on the table. We know what doesn't exist for them. They don't have Paolo Banchero. They don't have Franz Wagner. They don't have Mo Wagner anymore. They don't have a great offense. They're missing their two best attackers. They're not the team that we thought they would be. And so it's kind of easy to lower expectations. It's kind of easy to say, well, they're not going to have it against quality teams like the Boston Celtics. They might be able to outlast and outpace bad teams in this league. But against quality teams, the teams they'll have to beat when they get to the playoffs, they're not going to have it. They're just not going to have the horses. They're not going to have enough. They're relying on G League guys. They're relying on the depth of their bench. And even deep teams get snapped at times when there's so many injuries, when there's so many key players missing. Those are all excuses. Those are all things you say when you're not a winning team, when you don't have a winning culture, when you don't have that essential quality belief. Look, there's no shame in losing to the Boston Celtics. There never is. But when that door is open for a win and you're a team that expects to win, that believes that you are good enough to win on almost any night, you step up and you get the job done. And it does not matter otherwise. You find a way. That's what the good teams do. And we've been talking about this for a long time. Certainly this week. If you go back into my archives, probably for years. Good teams find a way. It doesn't matter who. Everyone on the roster has a purpose. And everyone is on the roster for a reason. And everyone on the roster is going to be called upon at some point. This is that point. This is that moment. And if you don't believe you can win, you won't win. So let's forget the excuses. Let's forget it all, because the Magic have certainly forgotten every excuse they might have for winning or losing these games. They have certainly forgotten. They certainly know that they're down key players and that the margin for error is smaller, but that only inspires them to play harder. So let's shake off those excuses. Let's shake off any doubts that we have about this team's ability to win and this team's ability to compete and this team's ability to find ways to do it. And let's just believe. Because this team believes. This team believes wholeheartedly in what they're capable of doing. Wholeheartedly in who they are. Wholeheartedly in what makes this group special. You don't win the game that the Orlando Magic won Saturday against the Miami Heat if you don't believe. Yes, the Magic maybe caught lightning in a bottle, but you don't hold an NBA team to 8 points in a quarter if you don't believe you can do it. You don't believe that stacking good play after good play after good play is going to net you a win. You don't erase a 15-point halftime deficit to the defending champion Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum or not, if you don't believe what you're doing is right, if what you're doing is going to work. The Orlando Magic believe. I don't know. They have shortcomings. They were turning the ball over a ton. They couldn't hit a shot to save their life. But if you watch the first half of this game against the Celtics, you saw the hints of that belief. You saw, the Magic have a game plan to slow the Celtics juggernaut down, to limit their three-point shooting, make them drive to the basket right into the teeth of the Magic's vaunted defense. And sure, that defense had some holes in it, was fouling too much, was caught in transition with turnovers, was giving up drives to Jaylen Brown. There were a lot of things going wrong. That the Magic got into that locker room, cleaned up those mistakes, understood that the mistakes were their own, and then got back on the floor and executed a flawless second half. A 65-46 second half, by the way. One where they erased that 15-point deficit completely in the third quarter. One where they forced turnovers, continued to limit the Celtics three-point shooting, and made every big play with confidence that you would need to make to win a game. All from players you don't expect to make those plays. Players like Tristan de Silva, a rookie who made the biggest shot of the game, with the Magic losing their 10-point lead, up by only one as things got tight late in the game. The defending champions looked like defending champions finally waking up from their slumber and perhaps taking this Magic team a little too lightly or letting the Magic push them around, to be frank. He gets a pass from Trevelin, queen of all people, for a big corner three. A three-pointer that makes it a 4-point game with 9 seconds left. A three-pointer that a rookie does not make unless he is as cool and collected as Tristan de Silva, but also does not, for a player that has the confidence from his teammates to make that play. The same thing with Trevelin Queen, a two-way player who has had some big moments with the Magic before, but had not played very much at all until Saturday's game against the Heat, stepped up in the fourth quarter with his energetic defense, got his first career start, defended everyone from Jaylen Brown to Kristaps Porzingis, and did it with energy and intensity that flowed to everybody else. The Magic's ultimate secret weapon and superpower is they defend like maniacs. They do not stop. They do not know how to stop. And that intensity, when it was finally directed in the right places, bothered the Celtics. Because, Magic fouled a lot, but they were physical. And the Celtics clearly did not anticipate or were not ready for or could not match a physical Magic team. This has been the conversation all week, by the way. That when you're down as many key players as you are down, you have to embrace your identity. And so you bring in a Trevelin Queen who's just all energy and defense and length and has to find a role for himself in the NBA. He's an NBA player. He's on a two-way contract. He was the G League MVP a few years ago. He's an NBA player. His shot has come a long way, and he defends like it's his last game, playing so hard. And you add that to all the tryhards and all the intensity the Magic bring regularly, you had a Celtics team that was uncomfortable, to say the least. Was looking at the refs, was looking at each other, was taken out of their game. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the Magic know exactly who they are. That was my statement after the game on Saturday. Orlando knows who they are. And this is what a culture looks like. This is what a winning team looks like. When you can be down so many key players and it doesn't change your identity. It doesn't change your formula for winning. You still find a way to execute. And some guys have to step up. You have to get maybe someone different every night to play at a really high level. It was Cole Anthony on Saturday. It was Trevelin Queen and Tristan Silva on Monday, but you still play your brand of basketball. The Magic have long believed in this brand of basketball, this defense-first, intense brand of basketball. They don't make these comebacks. They don't get these wins without it. Now, it's time for you to believe. No more excuses. That's another theme from earlier in the week. No more questions. No more wondering and worrying about what the Magic don't have. It's not coming back anytime soon. It's understanding the Magic have enough with what they do have. And that is more than enough to build these impressive victories. I know I have Tristan Silva, Trevelin, Queen step up on my rundown. We'll get to them when we run through the box score. So let's talk about how the Magic shut down the Boston Celtics' vaunted offense. We'll get to Jamal Mosley's role in this coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for high society. Now the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product specific disclosures. Visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. So obviously it's not a sure thing. You're playing the Boston Celtics. Like, I know Jason Tatum was out. Let's acknowledge that he was out of the game, and very different game if he plays. This is still a championship level team. It's still a team that is very, very difficult. And I think all of us were concerned about one thing when the Orlando Magic played the Boston Celtics. And it will be the concern every time the Magic plays the Celtics because this is a clash of two titans. Can the Magic solve the math problem? It's a problem that everybody in the league is talking about. Some pejoratively, some curiously, but when you face the Boston Celtics, it is a real problem. The Celtics may not be the best three-point shooting team in the league. They certainly are the highest volume, averaging, at least entering Monday's game, 51 three-point attempts per game, and leading the league with about 18 three-point makes per game. The Magic are obviously not a three-point shooting team. The worst three-point shooting team in the league by percentage. A team that's 11th or 12th in attempts per game, but a team that's always constantly chasing and trying to make sure they make about the same number of threes as their opponent, that they're not losing too many points on the three-point line. It's been a huge concern throughout the season. We can't deny it. We can't pretend it's not there. It is what it is. And when you face a team like the Boston Celtics, you are dealing with a team that lives at the three-point line. But here's the good news. The Orlando Magic actually give up the fewest three-point attempts per game in the league. They gave up only about 31 attempts per game. And so this is literally the unstoppable force against the immovable object. This is which one of these two things is going to win. Are the Celtics going to be able to get their normal amount of threes? And again, the Magic played a little slower pace too, which helps limit those attempts as well. Are the Magic going to be able to limit the Celtics three-point shooting? Or are the Celtics going to fire away and whether they make or miss, make too many threes for the Magic to keep up? The numbers are in from the first meeting. The Orlando Magic's defense decidedly won. And, like I said, believe in this defense. If you're going to believe in anything, believe in this defense. The Magic's defense is legit and it is destructive. It destroys everything in its path. And when it's dialed in, the Magic win. Like their offense is mediocre when they're healthy. It's bad for the most part. They win games because their defense is so dang good. And Boston ended up shooting their worst their fewest threes made and their fewest pointers attempted this season. The Celtics finished 8 for 33. That's just 24.2%. And it isn't that, Boston still got some three-point looks. And Orlando missed some rotations and got caught on offensive rebounds and gave up threes. It happens. They're not going to be perfect. But the Magic very much laid the blueprint for how you defend this Boston Celtics team. You stick to the shooters. You don't crash in on the shooters as much. Or if you're going to crash in, you stay within range and make that pass back out really hard or contest that pass really hard. You don't let them get the ball reversals and rotations that get them open threes. It's not the kick out that kills you. It's the next pass that kills you. And yeah, the Magic got a little lucky with missed three-pointers. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. But the fact that Orlando limited those opportunities says everything. And again, credit needs to go to Jamal Mosley and his coaching staff. They devised a great game plan. They executed that game plan exceptionally well. They adjusted it as needed, and they found a way to take Boston completely out of their game. Orlando does this because they are super physical. They switched essentially 1 through 5, and they told Boston, okay, you're most dangerous when you're passing and moving the ball, when you're passing to get these open threes. So dump the ball down to Kristaps Porzingis. We're going to push. We're going to prod. We're going to annoy the heck out of him. And if he makes a bunch of shots, he makes a bunch of shots. If he gets to the foul line a bunch, he gets to the foul line a bunch. But we're going to single cover him, contest his shots, be solid on the glass, and not let you shoot any threes. Obviously, a lot easier said than done, and the Magic are better positioned than a lot of teams who defend this way. But they are the first team to stymie the Celtics completely like this. Not the first team that the Celtics have lost to. Obviously, they've got 7 losses, but they are the first team, I think, that really frustrated Boston. The fewest threes they took in any game before Monday night was 41. They took 33. Orlando actually took 33 with them and made 13. The Magic were plus 15 points on the three-point line. Crazy. I know. Maybe that will never happen again. And again, we'll see what these teams look like when we get to January, when the Magic head to Boston. If the Magic can repeat this performance, and hopefully the Magic will have Paolo Banchero back by then. But we'll see. And Jason Tatum may be playing. That changes the dynamic of this team. Boston really didn't have a second attacker without Jaylen Brown. That was evident. Jaylen Brown, though, fell into his worst habits. And I think that's ultimately what Orlando did that was so successful. Orlando baited Boston not to play Celtics basketball. They said, give the ball to Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, he's got a matchup advantage, but we're going to fight. We're going to wear him down. We're going to frustrate him with fouls, and we're going to rally and rebound, and you're not going to shoot threes, and the math problem won't be an issue. It's brilliant. Celtics fell right into the trap. The Magic were very happy to let Kristaps Porzingis shoot. He was 2 for 10 for the game, but 13 for 14 from the foul. They fouled him a lot of fouls. They were very, very physical with them. And that was by design. I think they were okay with the amount of fouls that they had, even though there was a lot of them. Some of them are iffier than others, but Boston's complained about the officiating too. Orlando was physical. They're not afraid to be physical. That's part of their identity. That's part of who they are. And that's what took Boston out of their game. The Celtics for the season, I have to pull this up because I meant to look it up earlier and I did not. The Celtics for the season average a lot fewer assists per game than I thought. 25.4 assists per game. 25.4 assists per game. They had only 13 on their 37 makes. That is a team that is not moving the ball and not getting the ball to open shooters because those open shooters aren't there. And this is part of the defensive masterclass the Magic pulled on Boston. They took him out of their game. And again, Goga Bitadze got ejected. There's a little bit of a scrum because Jalen Suggs was trying to stall to give the Magic time to see if they wanted to challenge a call in the fourth quarter. Kristaps Porzingis was not happy about it. Goga Bitadze defended Jalen Suggs. Apparently, hand went to throat or face or whatever. Goga got ejected. It was not pretty. But it speaks to how frustrated Porzingis was because then he started fouling. Then he started turning the ball over. Then he started missing his shots again. And the Magic had the Celtics right where they wanted them. Now, of course, Orlando had to execute on offense. They got some open threes. They made their threes in this game, shooting 39.4% from three. That's really good. The Magic made Boston's life miserable. And, if you listen to Locked On Celtics, let's listen to a lot of Celtics people. They do think the Magic they may not be ready to be a threat yet, but they think the Magic, as they continue to develop, are one of the biggest threats to their dynasty, are the team that might actually dethrone them in the end. Even without Paolo, even without Franz, the Magic frustrated Boston to no end. They found the formula to slow down the three-point shooting, to stop the volume. And maybe Boston will make it a point to shoot a ton of threes when they meet again. But now the Magic know they can do this. Now the Magic know this is possible. Now the Magic know they can slow this team down. But again, of course they can. They're one of the best defenses in the league. That's not going away. That's not stopping. And that's not changing no matter who's in or out of the lineup. But this was a really impressive show, considering everything that Boston's done to everyone around the league. And again, I know they're without Jason Tatum, but this was truly, truly impressive. Let's run through the box score. We'll talk a little bit about Trevelin Queen and Tristan Silva as promised. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. There are so many ways to pick up W's on FanDuel, whether you're betting on games like the Orlando Magic's next game against the Miami Heat. Not yet on the board, but we got the 5 Christmas Day games, including the Knicks and Spurs. Knicks are 9.5-point favorites over the Spurs. Mavericks over Wolves by 5.5. Celtics over Sixers by 10, and so much more. Or if you want to get in on futures or award winners, you can do that as well. In fact, Jamal Mosley is shockingly 4th in NBA Coach of the Year odds at plus 650. A lot of people after this game against Celtics giving Jamal Mosley a lot of love and saying he should be the Coach of the Year. He's going to be a finalist one way or the other if the Magic continue to stay in this place. Tyronn Lue also not getting enough love at plus 2,500. He's done a great job with the Clippers. But Jamal Mosley, Ime Udoka, Taylor Jenkins of the Grizzlies, Kenny Atkinson, the favorite with the Cavs. Those are your top 4 for Coach of the Year. Jamal Mosley plus 650 is a pretty good bet if you ask me. So visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Let's run through the final box scores. The Orlando Magic defeat the Boston Celtics 108-104. Again, we shouldn't be stunned by this anymore. The Magic keep telling us, we're not surprised by this. We know how good we are. Jamal Mosley has told us we have what it takes in the locker room. And so, first off, shout out to Jamal Mosley. This dude is the ultimate believer in his guys. He has instilled his team with this belief. He has, irrational or not, he has given this team all the tools to be successful. This team isn't where it is without Jamal Mosley, and as Jamal Mosley will for sure want me to say, because he hates attention, this team is not where it is without the assistant coaches. I don't know if there's an assistant coach of the year. Dale Osborne, who's essentially the Magic's defensive coordinator, deserves whatever the assistant coach of the year award there is. Jesse Mermis does a really good job. The whole staff does an incredible job. And frankly, that's the credit Jamal Mosley wants to give out most of all. This team is just... They play hard. They're playing so hard for their coach. They would run through a wall for Jamal Mosley. Don't run through a wall, please, guys. We're already hurt enough. But Jamal Mosley just gets these guys to play at such a high intensity. And, there's still another level for them to get to, obviously, with the playoffs coming up. They know that the playoffs are big. But Jamal Mosley wanted to give a lot of credit to assistant coaches for making sure that 2 key players in this game were ready to go, were ready to play and ready to contribute. The Magic's leading scorer in this game was Tristan Silva. The Magic rookie scored 18 points, 6 for 11 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3, 3 rebounds. Not a lot of counting stats besides the scoring. he's getting more aggressive. He's looking to get downhill a whole lot more. It's really, really impressive and fun to watch him begin to realize how good he can be and get really comfortable at the NBA speed. His defense statistically doesn't look great, but if you watch him, he's in the right spots. As he adds strength, his ability to challenge shots to the rim is going to keep getting better. He's figured out a lot. And he hit the biggest shot of the game. Tristan Silva had a missed three actually a few possessions before that big shot. And for a rookie to step up in a big moment and hit that critical jumper, hit that critical shot to make it a 4-point game, to make it a 2-possession game, that is a statement. It's huge. It's big. That's not what rookies do. And look, he's 23 years old. He was a senior in college. He is a rookie, but he's not a rookie. And so you would expect as the game slows down, those skills that have been developed over more years will come to the forefront a whole lot more. De Silva's had more, he's had more games like this than not over the last 2 weeks. And obviously 18 is a lot of points, so I don't want to say like exactly like this. But you're starting to really see De Silva come into his own and find himself, and that's such a huge deal. The guy that I think really changed this game in a number of ways, Trevelin Queen, 17 points, 5 for 9 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3, 4 for 4 from the foul line, added 3 steals and a block. He had 3 turnovers as well, a little bit all over the place sometimes, but Trevelin Queen is a two-way player. He's been a G League MVP before. He's been a big-time scorer. He's a big-time athlete. And his path to the NBA was always use your athleticism on defense, make 3-pointers, and then learn shot selection and all that stuff. Trevelin Queen last year, when he played, was super energetic on defense, just all over the place, just giving energy, just playing his all, trying to make his mark. And we even said when he played those games in January that this is a guy that deserves minutes. He is an NBA player. He's a high-level G League player. He's a G League MVP candidate every year. He is an NBA player, and it's abundantly clear on an NBA court that he belongs on a roster and on a rotation. This game further proved that. He gets his first career start. He steps in. He guards Jaylen Brown. And look, Jaylen Brown had his way a little bit, 15 for 29 shooting, but 1 for 7 from 3. He really locked in defensively in the second half, but he was guarding everyone. He was guarding Jaylen Brown. He was guarding Kristaps Porzingis for a little bit. They would switch him on to Al Horford. The Magic had a lot of trust on him, and while he committed 5 fouls and fouled a lot, he was energetic. He was forcing steals. He was forcing deflections. He was fighting. And a smaller player going up against a bigger player, that's all you ask for, that you fight. You don't just concede the spot. You get after it. And if you need to wrap up and foul, wrap up and foul. Trevelin Queen had an amazing game. The Magic don't win either of these last 2 games without Trevelin Queen. He is a real find. This is an NBA player. I don't know if he's on the Magic next year. The Magic don't have the roster space right now to convert him to a full contract. Wouldn't surprise me if the trade deadline, one of their goals is to do that, because this dude can play. He fits this team to a T. He's worked so hard to get to this point and deserves whatever success is coming his way. Jalen Suggs had a very up and down game. 16 points, 5 for 13 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, but also 5 turnovers. He did have a steal and 2 blocks. Again, like the Magic said at halftime that they talked about it, and a lot of their mistakes they just felt were really silly. Orlando ended up with 20 turnovers for 29 Celtics points. A lot to grow there. Turnovers remain a big issue for this Magic team, and with the margin for error as small as it is, that's how they find themselves down 15, is when they string together a bunch of turnovers. And I thought this before the Magic said it, then the Magic said it after the game, that they really felt like they were trying too hard, that they were trying to do a little too much. And that's what got them in trouble. That's what caused their turnovers, is that they were just trying to do a little bit too much. They needed to slow the game down a little bit. And that perfectly describes Jalen Suggs right now. He's an energetic guy. He wants to give it his all at all times. I've used this analogy a million times. He's a little bit over his skis. If I know Floridians don't ski very much, he's just unbalanced. He looks like he's leaning forward too much, just like I did to the camera right there. And that's what gets him in trouble. That's what gets him in trouble. That's what gets the Magic in trouble. It's a rough spot. for him to be in. But he understood it wasn't his game to score. So he backed off the shooting, backed off the scoring a little bit, found ways to still make an impact. Certainly defensively made a huge impact. Just an up and down game for him, but ultimately second half he did exactly what the Magic needed him to do. Cole Anthony followed up his 35-point game with 10 points on 4 for 9 shooting. Very, very 5 turnovers as well. Very, very similar game to Saturday's game, actually. First half, kind of throwing the ball around a little bit too much, getting stuck in the wrong spots, not hitting shots. Second half, a little bit more focused, a little bit more composed, stopping short, hitting mid-range jumpers instead of getting all the way into the teeth of the defense. Had some big plays, had some big moments. The Magic tied the game, I believe, on a play where Cole Anthony lost the ball, ran to where the defender was about to steal it. That defender dropped the ball or fumbled the ball right back into his hands, immediately drove it to the basket, hit a ridiculous reverse layup. Huge play. I believe that gave the Magic the lead in the third quarter. Cole Anthony tries. That's not an issue here. Everybody is trying at 115%. 10 more percent is not enough. 115% if we're going to go. Impossible numbers there. Really, really solid game from Cole at the end of the day. Wendell Carter had a nice game too. 11 points, 5 for 8 shooting. It does feel like Wendell Carter is going to go to the bench here. The Magic opted to start Trevelin Queen at the 3 with Tristan Silva at the 4, start Goga Bitadze at the 5, split up Bitadze and Carter. So now Carter's coming off the bench, anchoring those bench units. It got him more touches, and I think that's really, really important. I know that's something I pitched a little bit yesterday. It felt like it was more natural for him. Got a few more touches, got a few more shots off. He got 8 shots, which is pretty high for him this year. He probably needs to be around 10, 11, 12. He made some jumpers, some bad shots in there. Honestly, I don't mind some bad shots occasionally from him. That shows he's being aggressive. Found those pockets for him to score. Made some nice defensive plays. If Wendell Carter's playing like this, the Magic are going to be a lot better shape. And again, he finished the game because Goga Bitadze got ejected for reasons. Goga Bitadze finished with 8 points, 9 rebounds. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 8 points, 2 for 8 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 5 rebounds for him. Good defense. Shooting was a little suspect, but he's got some ups and downs. He's overall shooting much better over the last 12, 15 games. So KCP's probably turned a little bit of the quarters, playing the way we expect him to play and shooting the way we expect him to shoot. The Orlando Magic defeat the Boston Celtics 108-104. They shoot 44.6% from the floor, 13 for 33 from 3, a perfect 21 for 21 from the foul line. Make your free throws, kids. Free throw awareness month is just 3 months away. Orlando gets 7 offensive rebounds. That leads to 8 second chance points. Boston had 13 on 8 offensive rebounds. That was a bit of a weak spot. That was actually where Boston got a few of their threes. And again, 20 turnovers, way too many. Boston took advantage of them. That's still a sore spot for this team. But again, Orlando just finds a way to overcome it. Jaylen Brown scores 35 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. He has 5 turnovers. Derek White, 17 points, 5 turnovers, only 5 for 12 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3. Drew Holiday, 16 points, 7 for 12 shooting. He made his shots, 8 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Orlando did a really good job forcing turnovers. Boston had 19 turnovers for 23 points. You could begin to see with Jason Tatum out how Boston is a little bit more heliocentric. Ball wasn't moving. Orlando had a lot to do with that, a lot to frustrate the Celtics with and put them in a spot where they weren't playing their game. They were playing the Magic's game. And Orlando gave up some points in the paint. Ultimately, Orlando was outscored 54-40 in the paint. So the Celtics got some points on the interior, but they did not get their usual diet of threes. That was the gamble. The Magic won that gamble, and they ultimately won the game. The Orlando Magic defeat the Boston Celtics 108-104. They head to the Christmas break, a couple days off for Christmas, and get ready to face, the Miami Heat on Thursday on Boxing Day. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them install podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. As if all that's not enough, Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Don't forget as well, as a Christmas gift for you, I am doing a live show on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be on the Locked On Magic YouTube page. Just go to YouTube, search for Locked On Magic, or on X Spaces at Magic Daily. I'll answer all your Magic questions. Send me your trade pitches. I'll critique them, tell you how ridiculous they are. No 3-team pitches, no 14 pitches, no 5-team pitches. They don't happen. I'm not going into those. We'll talk about everything you want to talk about with the Magic for about an hour, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on our YouTube page, as well as on X Spaces at Magic Daily. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. In case you don't join us for the live show or listen to the live show on replay, have very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. I think it's still Kwanzaa. Have a great holiday. We'll be off for Christmas Day heading into Boxing Day. So I'll have that episode tomorrow to tide you over. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman, right? We'll see you again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.